Increment 3132 crew is here to report for the integrated simulation. We're ready. Do you have any questions? No.
Нет.
Inaudible.
Там вода и Саша, что это сказали принести?
What's in the bag? The water and the iPads. iPads to be flown because they need to be checked for viruses. So there's nothing illegal in the bag.
А я не знаю, кто подойдет.
Somebody's supposed to be coming by to pick up the bag too. Yeah, so they'll be coming by to pick up the iPads, and there's some forms that need to be filled out. That's all taken care of. Stay right there. Put a smile on, and that's gonna do it. Can you wave? Excuse me? Can you wave, please? Okay. Sergey.
Все, всем спасибо, до встречи.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll see you later.
На интервью.
We'll see you the Q&A. Forgot my glasses. Then we'll talk to you during the daily planning conference. There's a long list of all possible off-normal situations, and it's been shortened down to a sort of a short list, and also the crew has an opportunity to pick one question of their own choosing, and each set of questions has all kinds of and types of off-normal situations that have to do with the life support system failures, motion control system failures, emergency egress, and so the instructors are about done inputting all the off-normal situations into the system, and the guys will be expected to first of all be smart about locating the issue. And, you know, it's important to be able to do it in a critically timely fashion. What do you get your points taken off for? Oh, this is a big, complicated system. There's several pages of a document that describes it. Starting with, you know, guys probably noticing a problem somewhat later than they're expected, and then, you know, taking kind of a suboptimal path to mitigate it, you know, ultimately just, you know, getting the problem resolved, but some of the points may be taken off. If they get completely off the road, then there'll be more points taken off. But then again, it's an experienced crew. It's only recently that they've been training as backups. Gennady Podalka is not new to this. He's flown multiple times, and he has both training and real flight experience under his belt, so I'm not really expecting any surprises. But Sergey Revin's flying for the first time. That's right. Sergey's flying for the first time, but Gennady will be monitoring very closely both what he's expected to be doing as well as what the rest of the crew is supposed to be getting done. So how's Sergey? He's been making a lot of advancements. And you have to realize that, he's not working solo or with other inexperienced crew members, but he's flying with somebody who's got as much experience as Gennady Padalka. So we'll have to see what the exam grades will be like, because preliminary grades is one thing, and the actual integrated sim is somewhat stressful. You have to realize that. And all the crews are always like, everything's okay, but it's stressful nevertheless. Of course, the real flight is more stressful than this, but this somewhat approximates the real flight situation, at least in the sense that adds some stress. What's the duration of the flight and what's the mission? Well, their mission is quite extensive. First of all, they're going to be doing the handover. So they will be picking up the activities from the crew. They'll be remaining after the return of half of it, and then they will have to receive a lot of vehicles. There will be a lot of cargo vehicles docking to the station, new vehicles. There will be an EVA, a spacewalk, and a lot of science. So it's an extensive list. There will be a press release. Yeah, so just check out the press release. It's a standard duration increment.
Нет, никаких особенностей в научной программе.
Anything special about the science program? Nothing too special. For the most part, it's the repetition of the experiments that are currently being performed by the crew on orbit. It's literally maybe 1, 2, or 3 experiments that are kind of like the build-up of the previous experiments. Next stages, these are the microbiology and engineering experiments. So overall, the science program is it meets the requirements that's been on the books that have been on the books for the past several crews. But it's normal because science is also statistics. So accumulating data on experiments that have been getting performed by previous crews is an indelible part of the science program on the station. Mr. Krikalev, you as the head of this organization, what do you feel like when you think about this crew? You've got Gennady, who is real experienced. He's flown on the Mir station and on the International Space Station. So what are your thoughts about this crew? Well, this is no time to do any kind of detailed description of these individuals. We have to wait and see how they do throughout this integrated simulation. But this crew, the same crew, was a backup crew before. And this is the practice that used to be common back in the Mir station days. That a crew would be a backup, and then they will be flying as prime crew. And then there would be a different philosophy applied later on as regards the International Space Station, where the crew would be reassigned after they ceased to be backup before they became prime. So the composition would change. But this time around, this crew was assigned somewhat earlier. What makes this a bit special is that Sergey Revin was assigned several times, then he was reassigned, but this particular composition with a real experienced crew member as Gennady and him, they did real well during their previous stage when they were backup crew. And everything as far as preliminary tests are concerned have been yielding good results, but these are the results that are based on Mr. Padalka's experience, first and foremost. Mr. Chairman, Increment 3132 backup crew is reporting for the integrated simulation. Good morning. Are you ready? Yes, we are.
Есть вопросы?
Do you have any questions?
Крайние вопросы?
Last time she asked questions. No questions? Everything's clear? All right, thank you. All right, good luck. Here's your chance to apply everything you've been learning. All right, you can take your slip-ons off. Should we sit down? Do we stand or stay seated? Stay seated. All right, give us 1 minute while we're setting up the cameras. This is your first integrated simulation as a backup crew. And so, what do you feel right now? We're a bit worried. Even though we're ready for the sim, we're ready for the exam. The crew has done a great job going through all the stages of training. So, there shouldn't be any issues. What's it going to be like? That would be too easy if we did know ahead of time. We sign up for the questions that we don't know about, and then the instructor will be inputting the off-nominal situations that we're not clued in on. When did you become cosmonauts? For myself, 2007, 2003 for my colleague. I've been in the Cosmonaut Corps for 12 years. NASA astronaut for 12 years. So do you feel the responsibility? Absolutely. So good luck to you guys.
Спасибо.
Now everybody needs to slowly transition into the International Space Station room.